not change your FPS from 30 if you were an unpartnered streamer, which since this is a tutorial about how to use streaming software, I'm going to assume you're an unpartnered streamer. And the reason you don't want to change your FPS you stream at, the more likely I'm going to be telling you that you didn't think we were going to do. We're going to change. Fantastic for people such as myself who stream at a lower resolution, lower bitrate for those accessibility reasons that I mentioned earlier. And so, to lowest end you can bitrate is it lines up with your resolution. If your bitrate is too low and you're streaming, a good bitrate would be anywhere from like 1500 to 2000. If you want to know what bitrate your internet is able to stream at, go ahead and take a speed test at speedtest.net and check your upload speed. My upload, but I have a i5 or an i5, so I would choose that. I have a GeForce GTX 750 Ti, so I would choose that. You would fill this out obviously with your settings, and then do not from high motion, because high motion also encapsulates medium motion and low motion, so you could stream any game with the settings that it's telling you to use. So just keep that at high motion. And then how fast is your upload speed? Enter in kilobits in a megabit. So to I'm going to be typing in 2500 for that. And then this is bad news bears, man. You don't want to do bad. So just keep that at 30. Game advice, you know what game you're streaming, so like don't worry about that. And then network advice is what we really want. Your upload speed is sufficient for 720p/1080p, but like I said, for accessibility reasons, we are going to be keeping it at 480p. We're going to stay under that, like I said, since we are streaming at 480p. So I'm going to set this to 1950. That's a good, it's kind of, and then or about why we're changing these settings, other than what I've been told. So, classic, which I can show you right now by switching to this to high and change this to 0 and hit apply. If you go to the broadcast settings, it says, warning, your OBS settings are not optimized for use with Twitch. Please set the following. Advanced settings recommend x264 encoding profile is main and keyframe interval of 2. So that is why we are changing those settings to 2 for the keyframe interval and main for the profile. I don't know anything about why, other than the fact that OBS is telling me to, why you make videos out of your streams. Don't enable variable frame rate. Standard recording path, change that to wherever you saved your videos. I saved mine in a stream archives folder. And then your recording format, change that to whatever you want to use. I in particular use MOV because that's just easier for me. And streaming coder, if you don't change this to x264 at 3500. Oh, one other thing. Enable custom buffer size and change that to the same thing as your bitrate in your streaming settings. Almost forgot to. This is just a file that's being recorded onto your PC, but you want your recording to be the same as your stream. You didn't enable it. Means whatever device you select here, anything going to that device, the stream will hear. And I always keep that at my headphones. You can choose whatever device you want and just have it output to my headphones, and that's how the stream hears it. I have a tutorial on how to do that already, so if you're curious about that, I will put that I have in various scenes, so you probably won't have any of these. But there, and that's your audio settings. Start and stop streaming, start and stop recording, hide and ready to go, and you are ready to start adding sources to your scenes, or adding scenes if you want various scenes. And I'm going to show you how to add 3 very basic things: the webcam, the overlay, and the game. And it's super simple to do all 3 of these things. So we're going to start out with the simplest of them all, which would be the overlay. So to do that, you would just click on this little plus button at the bottom of the sources tab, or right click and hit add, and then hit image. I'm not going to show, obviously, how to make an overlay or anything like that. You can make your own overlay in Photoshop or GIMP or even MS Paint if you really wanted to. Or you could pay someone to do it. You could ask someone to do it. various things like that. But the point is, you have an overlay. Overlay is ping, and I'm going to be teaching you how to make my casual overlay. Well, using my mine is that I'm using as an example. And I already have an existing source called webcam. I'll get into existing sources when I'm done setting up the scene. So create new. I'm gonna name it me, and then for whatever it is that you have, if you even want to use webcam. But there you go. And I'm going to go ahead and quickly add my actual webcam source. So there I am. There you go. This is me. And real quick, I'm going to do what I typically do. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. This is just what I typically do. Is because do that really quick. So there we go. I have now mirrored my webcam. And so that would be how you add your webcam. And then to add your game, there are two. And what I have as a supplementary capture card for this method, because I don't actually use this method when I add my games, my capture card, I add a different one. I use a different method in the future. Not quite sure, but just know that resizing it. But you may notice above the webcam and the over, and you're good to go. So that would be how you and open my capture software, which is AverMedia Rec Central, and that's gonna open this. So what do? You go ahead and click Add Window Capture. I'm gonna name this LGP Tutorial because the capture card that I have is an AverMedia Live Gamer Portable. There, but you may notice you can see that in the source up there. However, if you disable capture cursor, which would be just like this, and then boom, the game is cropped, and you can just this is not what I wanted to change. Right click the source and go into filters, add a crop filter, just name that whatever. 35 sources going across different scenes. You could use those sources in any scene that you wanted to. In OBS Studio, the add existing down here is if I move things again for everything that I wanted to show, and it really does help me out a lot.
Hey guys, Tropics here and welcome back. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to live stream with OBS Studio and YouTube. Now, I previously did a tutorial on how to stream with Twitch and OBS, so now I'm going to be showing YouTube some love, and I'm going to teach you guys how to stream with YouTube. So I recently did a live stream on YouTube, or YouTube Gaming, whatever, and worked out pretty well. I just wanted to check all the settings and what YouTube streaming was all about. My first ever YouTube live stream. And honestly, it wasn't too bad, but it's really complicated, so that's why I wanted to make this tutorial today, to really get this out there, because I guarantee you a lot of people are going to be really confused as of what to do, because live streaming on YouTube is not very easy. So if you guys do want to watch my stream, I don't know, turn on notifications or something. I highly recommend. It's easier if you're lazy. So I'm gonna go over here to download OBS Studio, and then you're gonna want to click whatever button matches your operating system. So but you will have one scene. You're probably not gonna have anything in your mixer over here. So the first thing you want to do, go to File, go to Settings, General. Whatever language you want to choose is your opinion, really, because, you know, if you speak Spanish, then I choose Spanish. I don't know. Language is kind of a personal preference. I speak English, so I put English. Theme, I go with dark because default just looks really ugly, and dark looks really nice, and it goes easy on the eyes. So before we do anything else in the settings, I want you guys to click the second link I have in the description, which is a link to a speed test. So once you get here, you want to go to Settings, and then you want to go to, you want to set the speed to kilobits per second, okay? Because, kilobits per second is what the streaming services use as a measurement for your speed. So once you've done that, you just want to go over here and hit go. So while this speed test is going, I'll explain to you why this speed test is useful and why we're even doing this. So I'd say like half of streaming is your internet. You need to have good internet to stream. You don't need to, but if you stream with bad internet, you're gonna have really bad stream quality more than likely. So as you guys can see, I have about 600,000 kilobits per second download. Now the download doesn't really matter with streaming at all, honestly. What you really want to look for is the upload. So I have around a 800,000 upload. Well, right now it's actually going really high. I have AT&T fiber, so I have 1 gig per second upload and 1 gig per second download. So my internet's really good. You're not going to be seeing speeds like this. Like very, very rarely you're going to see speeds like this. Very good internet, highly recommend it. AT&T fiber is the way to go, honestly. But if you have Google Fiber in your area, I recommend that more because it's more reliable in my opinion, and it's Google. Google products are awesome, let's be honest. Anyways, so once you get your results, just memorize these, leave them open, do whatever. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to OBS and look at all the settings. So the stream tab we'll mess with later once we actually start setting up the live stream on YouTube. So what you want to mess with first is your video over here. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna click the third link in the description. Just bear with me here. And what this link is it's a guide that YouTube made. I love this guide, it's awesome. That tells you what bitrate you should choose. use depending on your internet speed. So that's where the speed test comes in. So say you want to stream at 1080p. Well, it's going to tell you that your resolution needs to be set to 1920 by 1080 and that your bitrate range needs to be set to 3000 to 6000 kilobits per second. So that's where the speed test comes in. See, I have 926,000 kilobits per second, so I can definitely stream at 1080p. So let's say you have a speed of 1500 kilobits per second upload. So that is probably 1.5 megabits per second upload. So it's going to tell you what it would recommend for that. So if you have 1500, it says to go 720p and set your bitrate anywhere from 1500 to 4000 kilobits per second. Now this is all upload, no download, so just focus on your upload for this part. So just match the quality with the bit rate you have. So I usually go 1080p 60 frames per second because my internet is great. So I go 4500 to 9000 kilobits per second. I usually go 5000. It's really good bit rate all around, but just mess around with it and see what works best for you. So just find which quality would be in your little equilibrium, I guess. And another thing